Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to the show. Look here. Young G, he's on the bus. And he's thinking about what that officer told him about leaving the lifestyle alone. He wants to move on with his life, but he got to face up to the reality of the situation that he's in. He put himself in a bad situation because he wanted his brother's love and attention. He wanted it. But as the game got real, he found himself doing something that's a big no-no in the game world. Telling it. He told on his charge partners. He was all prepared to testify. You understand? And keep in mind, a lot of people say, well, he didn't get on the stand, but he still made the statement. And in that lifestyle, that you don't do that. Now, keeping it 100, we know a lot of people do that. But let's play this game, right? Let's just play this game for the sake of the story, because everybody wants to pretend and act like it don't happen, but it does. It does happen. So now he gets to the other prison that he's being shipped to that's a little bit more laid back. But when he gets there, the STG coordinator, he tells him, he said, look, what we're going to do, we're going to lock you down for the first 10 days to make sure everything is going to be straight, and then I'm going to let you back out, and then we'll see how things go. So Young G asked me, he said, can I make a phone call? He said, yeah, they're going to give you a phone call every day. You better call your family, let them know where you're at, and all this stuff. But for right now, I want to make sure you're going to be safe. Now, see, at that prison, they're a little bit more tight on security, so they want to make sure everything is okay. Because the people at this particular prison, they are laid back. They want to go home. They want to do their time. They don't want all of that, right? But we're still in prison, y'all. And things happen. So they're just going to be a little bit extra more cautious about it, you know? So while he's in the hole, pinning this little lockdown for a few days, first call he makes, it's not to his mother that he's estranged from, not to his brother that he wants the attention from, but he calls his girlfriend. And she's crying, and she's telling him how much she misses him and loves him and all this and that. And oh, by the way, she's pregnant. She's pregnant. And it's going to be a little girl. He's going to have a little girl. And he's not even going to be there to support the mother or to see her being born. And he sits on the phone and he just cries and he cries and he tells her how much he loves her and how happy he is and all this and that. And she's happy, but she's like, how long are you going to be there? I'm going to wait for you, but I want to know how long you're going to be there. And he told her, I got 8 years at 30%. I'm going to go up in 2 years or so, and then I'll be home. He don't know that. She don't really know anything about it, so she said, I'm with you. She said, I'm with you. Now, the little 10 days fly by. They let him out of the hole, put him on the compound. He's straight. First things that happen, like anybody else when you get in a new compound, some of the Crips step to him and say what that is. And he told them. Now, keep in mind, they already know what the business is. Listen to me. They already know that he is not the type of dude that could hold it. But see, let me tell y'all something about this gang life that you might not know. Some of y'all gonna know, but most of y'all ain't gonna know this. Listen to me. See, when you're part of that criminal lifestyle, that gang lifestyle, right, and people know your background. See, I'm talking about other gang members. See, they'll tend to use that against you. Because they know you the type of person that you didn't join because you was about that life. You joined for other reasons. And his reason, they didn't know specifically what his reason was, but whatever it was, they know that he wasn't doing it because this is what he really, really wanted. But they had to figure out a way to make it work out to their advantage, because they already done got word from around the state that he's a sucker. But see, they're not going to tell him that. They're not going to tell him that. Listen to me now. You need to follow this. They're not going to tell him that they know he's a sucker, but they're going to use him. So when he's around them, they embraced him. Keep in mind, they embraced him. I know y'all saying, nah, hey, cousin ain't going to do that, and the Bloods ain't going to do that, and the Vice Bloods ain't going to do that, and the Gangsters ain't going to do it, and the Areas ain't going to do that. Yes, they will. Yes, they will when it's to their advantage. So they ignored, to some extent, everything that they knew about him, and they embraced him and said, look here, cuz, this is what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do the background check on you, make sure everything's straight and all this and that, right? We heard about what went down, but you didn't actually get on the stand, so technically you didn't testify. Now, they're feeding him this nonsense because they want him to trust them. What other choice does he have, though, really? This is the manipulation at its heights. You understand? What other choice does he have? It's like a desperate man, a thirsty man in the desert being handed a cup of water, right? But the water it's not water. The cup is not full of water. The cup is full of spit. It's full of spit. I'm talking about when somebody hock from the deepest parts of the throat and the cup is full of spit. But you're thirsty. You're about to die. Would you drink it? He drunk it. He accepted that. Because in his mind, he knew they knew. He knew they knew because when the STG coordinator stepped to him and told him, we got to check on some things, he understood what that meant. They know. But see, now I got to pretend that I'm straight because they're pretending that I'm straight. I just got to make it until I go up for parole. That burden that he was wearing, it was heavy. It became heavy. 2 or 3 months go by now, everybody's acting like everything is all love. What's cracking, cuz? What you got going on? They breaking bread together. They doing all these things together. But see, every now and then it's glimpses of the nonsense. It's glimpses of, you ain't nothing but a sucker to me. You feel me? And let me give you some examples of those glimpses I'm talking about. Hey, cuz, you gonna cook tonight? Yeah, what y'all want to eat? Man, make some pizza, man. That's what's up. Bring me them patches down here, man. I got y'all, right? This is what Young G tell them. Bring the patches, man. I got them. We're going to make the pizzas. Everybody breaking bread, right? They said, no, cuz, you get it, man. We got you back next time. So now he know he got to go make the pizza off of what he got in his box. They ain't bringing him nothing. Now he go make the pizza. He using up all his food to make them food. You feel me? Make them something to eat. And he breaking bread with them, but it's us. But it's all his stuff. All his stuff. And then, another glimpse of it, he might be on the phone and cuz, hey cuz, can I get the 3-way? Like, yeah, cuz, hold on a second, man. Let me finish hollering my gab. He might have about 20 minutes left on the phone, right? Cuz be like, no, it's important, cuz. Let me go on and holler on the 3-way real quick. I ain't gonna be on that long. And he gave him the number. He said, man, who is this? Call my gal for me. His gal called cuz girl on the 3-way. Getting cuz get on the phone. He talking to his gal for the whole time. Ain't nothing serious. And then it says, you have 1 minute left. And then cuz tell his gal, he said, I love you. I holler back another time, right? And then he don't even bother to get a phone back to Young G so he can say bye to his gal. He just hang the John up and get on down. And Young G, he feeling some type of way, but he don't dare say nothing. He don't dare cross that line. Because he know what it is deep down inside. They don't respect him. They don't care nothing about him. He's just a convenience that they need to be able to take advantage of. That's that on that. That's that on that. So now, he's a year in. He's got a little girl. He hadn't been to visit yet. But they're working on the visitation application, right? And he's ready to go. He's ready to go to visit so he can see his gal and his little daughter. He's excited. So when he gets ready to go to visit, he tell cuz them that he's going to be a visit. So this is what they tell him. Say, look here, man. Man, why don't you holler at your gal and see if she can take care of some business for us? And he tells me, he said, nah, I ain't trying to be doing nothing like that. I'm trying to go home, man. I'm trying to be with my daughter. They said, look here, cuz. Everybody around here shaking something, man. You need to be shaking something too. He's afraid to tell them no. When they push, he backs down. They already see the move. Because see, in his mind, he's thinking, when are they going to tell me that I ain't nothing? When are they going to tell me that I ain't straight? He knows he ain't straight according to the standards that they live by. But he don't know when they going to drop the boom on him. He don't even know. So one day this dude that's in the pod, he's a Christian dude. He goes to church all the time. He sees that Young G is stressing right, and he tells me, he said, look, man, let me talk to you. So he pulls him over. He tells him, he said, man, why don't you go to church with me one day? And Young G looks at him and he almost tears up. And the Christian dude said, man, when they call church, I'm going to come and get you, man. Walk down there with me. He said, you need a break. And Young G is looking at him and he don't even say nothing. He just walk away. And he knows the dude is right. So when the church call came, he walked over at the dude, walked over to him, and he asked him, he said, let's go. They walked down to the church, and Young G enjoyed it. He enjoyed the freedom that he found in the chapel. So now he started attending Bible classes and all this, and he's spending less and less time with the Crips and more time with the Christian brothers. And now he's starting to read Bibles and verses and quote them and all this and that, and his language is changing. Because they notice a difference in him. And they see the Christian brother that introduced him to the Bible, to the Word, see, he used to live that lifestyle. So when he see the other Crips bumping down on Young G, he step over, he says, everything okay. And they said, this Crip beard. And then he said, look here, cuz, you know that's what I used to do, right? And they all knew that. They were like, yeah, but you ain't on that no more. He said, man, look here. He with me. We kicking it. So they look at Young G and they ask him, he said, man, is that what you want? Young G didn't think about it long. He put his head down and he started to remember what that officer said. You need to leave this lifestyle alone. You need to walk away from it. And he raised his head back up and he looked at the cousin and he told me, he's like, yeah. They said, what'd you say? Then he got a little loud. He said, yeah, I want to walk away. And with tears in his eyes and a frog in his throat, he said it again. He's like, yeah, I want to walk away. So, cousin them looked at him and then they mobbed off, right? Didn't say a word. So the Christian brother told him, said, it's going to be okay. You just got to stand your ground, man. You got to stand your ground. And you're going to be just fine. So when Young G go back to his cell, he's feeling all right. He's feeling all right. Now, he's in the cell with a peon, so he ain't have to worry about the pressure there. He's telling the peon all of the things that just had happened, and the peon is telling him, you're making the right decision. You're making the right decision. It's time for you to step away from it and leave all that nonsense alone. He said, you pushing up on 18 months now. It's getting closer and closer to that time you're going to go up. Then one day he gets a visit from his lawyer. One of his co-defendants is appealing. They filed a post-conviction trying to get out of the plea agreement that they made, right? So his lawyer comes out there to him and he tells Young G, he said, look here. He said, the DA wanted me to let you know in the event that this your co-defendant is granted this post-conviction that you might have to come to court to testify to the statement that you wrote. Nightmare all over again. Nightmare all over again. So now, the Crip dude that's filing the post-conviction, he knows where Young G is, so he writes the Crip brothers on that compound and he tells them what's really going on, right? So they step to him and they tell him, say, look, read this letter. And he reads the letter and it's from his co-defendant and his co-defendant is telling him, look, man, don't come to court. You don't come to court, man, I can get out. If I can get out, you're going to be straight. And then all is forgiven. But if you show up to court, it's going to be a problem, man, for you, your girlfriend, and your daughter. It done got real. It done got real. So Young G, he tell cousin him he ain't going to show up to court. He ain't going to show up to court. So it took a couple of days before he could figure out what to do. So he called his lawyer. He told his lawyer everything that had happened. And his lawyer said, I'll be out there to see you in the next week. So his lawyer shows up there after the visit. And he tells his lawyer that he's scared. Tells his lawyer that he's scared. So the lawyer says what he's going to do, he's going to go to the warden, talk to the warden about what's going on. And then they're going to get the Crip dude locked down at the other prison, right? Now, see, Young G don't really understand how serious this stuff is. He just wants to survive this experience and make it to the parole hearing and go home. He's getting closer and closer. He just wants to go home and put this all behind him. But that's not how it works. So the judge grants the post-conviction, and now it's time for Young G to make a decision. The DA sent some assistants out there to talk to him, and they tell him that this is what's going to happen per his agreement. He has to testify. And he told them he didn't want to testify. So they told him, that's your choice. But if you don't testify, then your deal is off too. They can rescind the deal. He said, I ain't worried about that. I done already done time on it. I done already done some time on it. Y'all can't force me to come back. They said, well, we can subpoena you. And then we can put you on the stand, declare you a hostile witness, and read your statement into the testimony. And he looked at him and tears ran down his face, and the young DA told him, he said, why are you crying now? This is the life that you chose. You chose this. And I understand the situation that you're in, but this is the cards you played. This is the cards you play. So this is how it's got to be. Pick a side. Pick a side. And he decided to testify to uphold his end of the deal. So when he showed up to court, the day came. And right before the trial, listen to me, right before the trial, when his charge partner, the Crip dude, knew that Young G was going to show up, he got his lawyer to go back in there and tell the DA he didn't want to do it. He wanted to withdraw it. He didn't want to do that. So they threw it out and reinstated his sentence. Young G had to go back to the penitentiary. But see, this time, they wasn't going to be so nice because everybody knew he had gone out to court to testify. Everybody knew whether he said anything or not that he was willing to do it. DA didn't care about him. Crips didn't care about him. Didn't nobody care about what happened to him. All they cared about is what they wanted. They knew he wasn't built like this. But that does not matter, people. It don't matter. Whatever it is you claiming to be, they want that. Whatever agreement you made with the state, they want that. Your well-being is not what's first and foremost on their minds. So now he gets back to the jail, the prison. And now some old heads had gotten transferred to the prison. Some individuals that had been part of the Crip Nation for years. For years. And they understood how to manipulate this thing. So they wanted to lay back because they had an opportunity, a real opportunity after almost 25, 30 years of going home. They had a real opportunity to go home, and they wanted everything to be peaceful. So they were willing to forgive and forget on everything for the time being, just so they could have an opportunity to go home. So they told all the Crips to stand down, that Young G was okay, that he was okay. So they were working out in the gym one day, and Young G, he works out in the gym all the time, and they were working out, and they started to talk to him, and they noticed he's a cool dude. And he let it slip out of his mouth, saying, "What's up, cuz?" And they responded back to him and said, "What's going on, cuz? Why you still talking like that?" And he told him, he said, "Man, I know I messed up, but I want this. I really want this." Now keep in mind, he had done walked away, and they let him walk away. And they had already told all the Crips on the compound to stand down. But it was one thing that triggered him. When he saw all these old heads, he thought about his brother that he hadn't heard from in years. But they knew his brother. And it was out of respect also for his brother that they didn't want to do nothing to him. So they were telling him how his brother get down and all this and that, right? And how much they respected him and all that there. And they knew that you were young. He was young when he did that. So they told him, "Look, man, just don't do it again." Now see, that's not something that you hear a lot out of old heads. Now let me tell you something though. They knew very well when they told him that they were manipulating the situation, right? They just wanted him to believe that he was going to be okay because they did not want to take the chance on him going and saying anything to those individuals down front to make it hard on them so that when they went over for parole, that they would be denied. Plus, they were using them to their advantage because if he told them that they were cool and all this and that, right, it might make its way to the parole board. Manipulation is at its finest in here, y'all. At its finest. So everything was smooth for a long time. But like we do, people got to make money in here. People got to make money. So these old heads even though they were about to go for parole, had a real chance of going home, reality started to set in on them, and they started thinking, man, we don't have any money when we leave here, if we leave. So they started making moves, and their names started coming up, and they thought, we got to do something to keep our names out of the light. Because if they come to us and they mess up our chances of going off for parole, we don't go home. And so one of the old heads thought, said, look, why don't we give the compound to Young G? And the other two old heads looked at him and said, wait a minute, get a compound to Young G? Nah, we can't do that. Ain't nobody gonna respect it. He said, listen to me. Let's hear me out. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about, how this can work. Just hear me out. And if you wanna know how the plot rolled out and Young G ended up with the compound, you're gonna have to tune in to the next episode, right? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting so tired.